In today's video, we're going to talk about the changing landscape of the used car business. So over the last couple of days, we've had actually a couple major announcements of some independents, large independents in the US going out of business. The biggest was Vroom. So if you remember, Vroom was the online digital retailer of vehicles. They actually a couple of years ago had a Super Bowl commercial where they came out hot and heavy against the dealer. And they have now announced that they are going to cease their operations. And there are a few different reasons for this. One of the easiest explanations why something like this is happening is the landscape of selling vehicles has changed, and it's changed pretty rapidly. When we went through the COVID shutdown, there were a lot of people that, listen, the state, the province, the territory, wherever they happen to be in the world, ceased the ability to have operations. So you couldn't open your showroom and have customers come in. So the dealers had to pivot very, very quickly and move to an online selling model. And they moved most of the stuff that they had to do to online, sending pictures, sending videos, and any dealer that had a digital retailing platform really did very, very well. And that's what Vroom was. It was buying your next car 100% online. That worked in the pandemic where people didn't want to go anywhere or see, touch, or smell the vehicle. They just wanted to get it delivered to their door. As things opened back up, people reverted back to the old way of buying things. They wanted to see the car. They wanted to know the person they're buying it from. They wanted to deal with somebody who is an expert in their field, opposed to maybe a glorified customer service representative that didn't have answers and typically was reading off a script, opposed to truly help somebody. On top of that, throughout the pandemic, acquiring vehicles were a very tough task. So a company like Vroom, they were paying more, and in some cases, thousands of dollars more for the vehicle than anyone else. Well, they couldn't sell that vehicle for the same price that they were acquiring it for. So they found that they were actually underwater in a lot of their inventory. Now, the other thing that has crept up, interest rates. We've talked about interest rates all the way along. Interest rates truly doesn't just affect the customer, it also affects the dealer. Why? Because the majority of dealers have to borrow the money for their inventory. They don't own that money in cash, right? They don't own that inventory in cash, they have to borrow it. So as interest rates have gone up, it costs more and more to hold that piece of inventory. On top of all of this, the average piece of inventory also raised in price. If we go back into Canada 4 years ago, the average inventory cost was $24,000. Well, now the average used car price is $37,800. So what does that mean? It means if a dealer wants to carry 100 cars 4 years ago, it would cost them a lot less than it does to carry 100 cars today. So you have inventory costing more, you have the cost of borrowing higher, and that puts a compression on margin. And what we've seen in the last little bit, especially in the US, we've seen depreciation come back. Depreciation wasn't a thing. For a while, we had appreciation in the car market, which was crazy, never had happened before, but there was a time that if you bought a vehicle today, you would be in a worse position than the vehicle that you own that was 90 days old. Well, now that's completely flipped. You are in trouble in that vehicle that you've owned for 90 days, and you're in a better position in that vehicle that you can buy today. So all of these factors have come into the market. The other thing in Canada that we're just dealing with is the availability of dealer floor plan. A dealer floor plan is where the dealer borrows their money for the inventory. So we had a few high-profile floor plan companies in the US exit the market. Well, Next Gear Capital, and if you watch some of my older videos, they were part of Cox Automotive. They apparently had just sent out a letter to their dealers saying that they are exiting the market. So if you have a vehicle floored with them, when you sell it, you have to pay them back, and they're actively trying to get the money of vehicles that are unsold off their books. So that's going to create a hole in the market for dealers to floor plan their inventory. So though that's just a market update, you know, it is going to be a challenge in the next little bit. That is the explanation behind why some of these dealers are just going away and what challenges lay ahead of the dealers that are still doing it. Again, my name's Andrew, one of the Brothers of Bargains here from Ride Time, and at Ride Time, we have your ticket to ride.